In the sky-choked city of Gearford, everything worked like a machine, because it was one. Streets ticked with rhythm, street lamps blinked in time with footsteps, and even laughter followed a schedule. The people wore brass-trimmed uniforms, spoke in measured tones, and believed in only one god: efficiency. Towering above it all was the Chronatorium, a massive glass and steel fortress where the Council of Engineers ruled. At its heart ticked the Core Cog, a mechanical heart said to keep time, power, and order throughout Gearford. Everyone's schedule synced to it. Everyone's life beat by its pulse. Everyone but one. Farah, a 17-year-old apprentice in the city's Department of Maintenance, was efficient, precise, and painfully curious. From a young age, she'd asked the wrong questions. Why does the clock decide when I eat? Why do we never leave the city? What's beyond the smog curtain? Each time, her mother would hush her, whispering, "Questions slow gears." But questions were seeds, and Farah's were growing. One day, while repairing a leaky steam pipe in a forgotten lower sector, Farah saw something impossible. A sprout, a single green tendril poking through a crack in the metal floor, fragile yet vivid against the gray. Farah knelt beside it. It pulsed, not with steam, not with current, but with life. A kind of rhythm she'd never felt before. Not measured, not timed, wild. She touched it, and something stirred in her chest. Not rebellion, not anger, but wonder. She returned each day. She watered it with her ration, shielded it from inspectors, spoke to it when the city grew too loud. The sprout grew, leaves unfurled, buds formed, and one day it bloomed, bright, defiant red. The next morning, the flower was gone. So was the floor panel. And waiting on her cot was a notice. You are summoned to the council. The council chamber was a dome of ticking noise. Gears turned overhead, papers hissed from pneumatic tubes, and 7 counselors in brass robes stared down at her. Counselor Vex, the youngest and most feared, spoke first. You've tampered with unauthorized organic growth. I didn't, Farah started. You preserved it. That is defiance. Farah's fists clenched. Why is it illegal to let something live? Murmurs. Counselor Mir, the oldest, leaned forward. Because unpredictability destroys order. One flower becomes a field. Fields don't follow clocks. And maybe the clocks are wrong. The Core Cog ticked louder. You are dismissed from the department, Vex said, his tone final. You will report to reconditioning Sector 4. No, Farah surprised even herself. I won't be reconditioned. I'm going beyond the smog. The idea was absurd. There is nothing beyond, Vex sneered. Just decay. But the Core Cog skipped. Just once. A stutter in the machine. Farah smiled. Then I'll find the decay and ask it why it scares you so much. They came for her that night. Black-gloved functionaries with sleep darts and steel grins. But Farah was faster. She had mapped the tunnels. She had allies, unlicensed thinkers, quietly watching. And she had the seed. She'd taken one from the flower, tucked it behind her ear. Let's see where you grow, she whispered. She moved in the space between scheduled movements, what she called the undertime. When systems were shifting, but no one noticed. She slipped past checkpoints, into tunnels marked obsolete, toward the edge of the city, toward what came after the last known map. Beyond Gearford lay silence, not death, not rot. Silence. No smoke, no gears. Just open sky, cracked land, and green. The world beyond had healed, slowly, beautifully. Nature had taken back its rhythm. Not rigid, not chaotic, just free. Farah wandered. She watched birds unmeasured by bells, rivers not dammed, wind not programmed. And then she found it. A garden, massive, alive. A spiral of trees and wildflowers, all pulsing around a structure made of roots and glass. In the center stood an old woman, skin like bark, eyes like moss. "I've been waiting," the woman said. Farah blinked. "You know me?" "No, but the seed does. It grew from something buried here long ago." Farah stepped closer. The seed behind her ear pulsed. "You come from a place that forgot," the woman said. "We tend what remembers." The woman, whose name was Alarin, taught Farah the old listening. How to hear the hum of a growing thing. How to speak in root code. How to plant something not just in soil, but in soul. Farah thrived. Her curiosity was no longer a danger. It was a key. She learned that Gearford had once been a garden, that the Core Cog was built over an ancient tree called the heart seed, said to connect all life. But when the city grew obsessed with order, they buried it. And the tree slept. Until Farah watered its child. "You carry its voice now," Alarin told her. "You must decide what to do with it." Farah returned to Gearford not as a fugitive, but as a gardener. She stepped into the city carrying no weapons, no plans, only seeds. People stared. The council panicked. "What is she doing?" Vex shouted. But the people watched. Farah knelt in the central plaza and planted the seed in the cracks of the Core Cog. The machine groaned. Time shuddered, and then a vine. It spiraled up the metal, not destroying, weaving, softening. And when it reached the top, the Core Cog stopped. But the city kept going. People gasped, looked around, waited for collapse. Nothing collapsed. Children laughed, wind blew, and for the first time, Gearford breathed. Years later, Gearford was no longer made of gears alone. Time existed, but so did moments. Schedules still ran, but so did streams. Through the plaza, the council was dissolved. In its place was the circle of tenders, listeners, makers, question keepers. Farah never took a title. She simply walked, planted, listened, and in every corner of the city, new sprouts rose. People began to say, the city didn't change because the machine broke. It changed because someone asked, why must it tick at all? And then listened to what grew in the silence. The moral of the story is this: when life becomes too mechanical, too measured, too afraid of wildness, plant a question, water it with wonder, and watch a whole world grow in the cracks.